Hello again, everyone. Ambassador Terry with another What Are You Doing Year 7 interview. And my guest this week is Tracy Doyle. Welcome, Tracy.
Hey, I'm so glad to be here, Terry.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Ladies and gentlemen, like always, I find some very interesting people, and this is no exception. Tracy Doyle, what are you doing?
Well, I basically sold my business in 2023, Terry, and I decided as I was thinking about my next, I was like, I'm going to write a book. So I wrote a book called Life Storms: Finding Your Clear Sky. And my purpose truly was that I started my career actually wanting to help others. I pivoted to the pharmaceutical industry and stayed there for over 30 years. But I had burned out, and I actually burned out twice. The first time was pretty bad. I had a pretty bad breaking point at that point because I grew up in poverty. I first in my family to go to school, and as I got into the industry, I wasn't equipped emotionally. I did not have the emotional skills as I was achieving and super achieving. I became a super achiever actually because, as most know, with burnout, there's always an underlying self-doubt and underlying things that are happening. But the second time I burned out, I had now started my business. I was wildly successful, but I found myself being very reactive emotionally. As being an overachiever, I was just like a human doer. I was doing, 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 doing. I was a woman who managed it all. And yet my relationships were starting to fracture because these explosions that I was having, they were pushing people away. And seriously, as a CEO, you can't react like that and expect to keep talent on the one hand. But at home, as an entrepreneur, my relationship at home was struggling as well. So I went on a journey and I wanted to understand, how to change this, right? And I tried all different modalities. And I don't want to say anything's bad. What I will say is that for me, I couldn't understand how to change. Everyone was telling me what to do, but I couldn't understand how to do it. So that's the whole journey of Life Storms. I wanted to share my experience with putting together a stepwise approach, if you will, in terms of how do you overcome burnout? What does it take? And I call it the Aurora method. And what it's about, what I've learned, the first thing I learned as I went on this journey of overcoming these reactions was that burnout was really, here I was imploding on the inside, exploding on the outside, was really nothing more than patterns that were shaped by my early life experiences that were driving me to burnout. This idea that I had a people please and I never said no and I overcommitted. This idea that I would lose what I had if I didn't keep going and pushing and pushing and pushing myself. And clearly proving my worth and basically sacrificing myself for clients and for everyone else. And meaning the people pleasing really just took me to that breaking point. So when I discovered that it was beliefs that were shaped by early life experiences, that's when I understood what all the experts were telling me. Therapists and burnout experts, they all say the same thing. Change your outlook, change your mindset. But I didn't know how to do that. So with the Aurora method, what it does is it helps you uncover the beliefs that are quietly driving you. And then from there, how do you turn it around and shift your perspective so you could see what you need to change? So it gives you clarity. And then from there, how do you create your, not how, but what do you need to say to yourself to create your own personalized mindfulness mantras? Many people will say, just say I'm worthy or I'm enough. But for me, that was sort of hollow. I needed something more deep. And so what I came to terms with were things like, I'm worthy as I am and I belong right here because I was filled with a lot of self-doubt. That's one of them. Another one for me is I can trust others and it's okay to accept help because I felt like I couldn't trust anybody and never thought that their help would prove anything. And meanwhile, I was pushing them away by not accepting their help. So it was things like that. And so the Aurora method really guides you through that process to reconnect with yourself. And then from there, I work with others, not only in the capacity of helping them through the Aurora method. I do that in the book. I guide people right through it the way I'm talking about it right now. But then how do you mend the relationships that are fractured by burnout. So in my book, what I do is I talk about what I call the mending process and what I call acknowledgement conversations. And so as a result of all this, what happens is that people who are struggling actually can improve the relationships that are fractured at home and at work. Also, they can identify and eliminate what's been driving their burnout and their relationship conflicts in general. But importantly, they can start really being part of life again. So that's really what the book is about. And since it's been going super well, people have started reaching out to me and said, "Can you take me through this method?" So I started offering a course. I do a 12-week course where I'm taking people, most of us with burnout, we don't want homework, right? Don't tell us what to do and come back and talk to us about it. So I've created a 90-minute container where I take them through the work, they do the work, they can ask questions, and each week we meet, we go deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And
Right. Well,
there,
6 minutes goes awfully fast, my dear
yeah,
friend.
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you got to buy this book. Links in the comments underneath our event today. Thank you, Tracy. This was fabulous. I didn't want to cut you off, that's for sure. But that's just the way it goes in show business. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so much for watching every week and supporting our top 100 podcast for the fourth year in a row. And bye for now.